Hello everyone, I'm here again, teacher Marvin, and this time I'll be sharing with you not just one lesson, not just two lessons, three lessons, but I will be sharing with you series of lessons when it comes to English grammar. Well, why did I come up to this kind of idea? It's because throughout the years, my experience in teaching English, I observed that one of the difficulties of the students from junior high school, senior high school, up until college is actually the English grammar. And if you find it difficult to master it, well, definitely you will find it difficult as well to do some writing compositions. So if you are a learner of English, or if you just wanted to enhance your writing skills, I believe the series of lessons is actually or are actually for you. And the book that I'll be using for the different lessons that I'll be sharing is the book Mastering Grammar. And in this book, we will try to finish all the exercises. It actually has 160 exercises in here, and it actually aims to expand your grammar skills, improve your test scores. So if you are also preparing for an examination, for an English examination where it touches a part of it is grammar, I think this series of lessons are actually for you. And of course, if you have enhanced your your knowledge in grammar, it will eventually boost your confidence in writing. So this book is actually written by Gary Robert Moskla. And with that, I think we could start already our first lesson. And so let me share with you the first lesson in this series. And we will be talking about the kinds and structures of sentences. So probably you have heard this already in one of your lessons, English lessons. But if that's so, then this will serve as your review. All right. So after we understand all of these kinds and structures of sentences, be prepared because we will be doing some exercises for you to really uh, master it. All right. So we'll start with the kinds of sentences. So sentences may be one of four kinds. First is we have, let me underline this one. We call it declarative sentence. So a declarative sentence makes a statement. All right, that's the key term there. It makes a statement. So it either shares or it either shares a fact, for example. Okay, for example, this we have the declarative sentence here. The rain ruined the picnic. So as simple as that, it just gives information. Okay, and if it gives an information or it makes a statement, it must always end with a period. All right. So again, it must always end with a period. And I'll give you some examples for this. For example, the house that I bought is new. I'm giving a fact. I'm giving an information. I'm making a statement. All right. Um, I was conducting my online class when when the strong earthquake happened. So it's also a declarative statement. And if you're going to write that one, it must always end with a period. Okay? Right. And can you give your own example as well? You may want to test yourself and try to construct as many declarative sentences as you can. All right? That's very simple. Declarative sentence. We also have interrogative sentence. So what is an interrogative sentence? Simply, it asks a question. All right? It asks a question. Whatever question is that, all right? It is categorized automatically as interrogative sentence. And since it asks a question, it ends with a question mark, right? So the question below, do you have homework tonight? It's a question, so it's a declarative sentence. And as you can see, it ends with a question mark, right? Where do you live? Um, what do you do for a living? What do you study? And other similar questions. Those are examples of interrogative sentence. Okay, could you give your own example as well? I'll be glad to share your answers in the chat box. Okay, that's the second one. We still have two kinds of sentences. And the next one is the imperative sentence. Could you say it with me? We have imperative sentence. So this gives a command or makes a request. It ends with a period. So it's like declarative. Both of them actually end with a period. But imperative sentence gives a command or request. Say, for instance, we have, please open the window, right? So there's a request in there. It's a request because we make use of the word please. Please open the window. Kindly give me the food. Kindly buy me some bottled water in the canteen. Okay, so those are requests. We also have command. Simply you just remove the word please when you say open the window. That's a command. Okay, um, do your job, submit your assignment, study English more. Those are commands, and those are examples of imperative sentence. Okay, so key terms: command and request when it comes to imperative sentence. All right, I hope it's clear to everybody. Now let's proceed to the last part, or the last kind of sentence. We call it exclamatory sentence. Exclamatory, from the word exclamatory, it actually expresses a strong emotion. And it ends, of course, since it expresses strong emotion, it ends with an exclamation point. All right? So, for instance, look out for the car. When you say this, you are in a hurry, and or you are um, about to have or to meet an accident, for example. look look out for the car. So when you tell this one, there's a sense of urgency and emergency actually. So you call it, or you express it with a very strong emotion, and that's why it's called exclamatory sentence. Okay, could you give some examples of exclamatory sentence in the chat box? Okay, so those are the four kinds of sentences. Again, we have um, declarative, interrogative, imperative, and exclamatory sentence. Now, let's proceed to the sentences according types of sentences according to structure. So these sentences are also classified according to structure. And what are these? First one is we have simple sentence. Could you say it with me? We have simple sentence. So it has one complete subject and one complete predicate. Okay, for example, in the sentence, Tom went to band practice. We have one complete subject. And what is the complete subject in the sentence? It's Tom. Very good. Yeah, it's Tom. And we also have one complete predicate. And the complete predicate in this sentence is went to band practice. All right. So one complete subject plus one complete predicate is equal to a simple sentence. Okay. For example, Marvin is reviewing his lessons because his examination will be tomorrow. Oh, no, no, no. Marvin is reviewing his lessons. That's it. Okay. Marvin is reviewing his lessons. What's the complete subject? Marvin. What's the complete predicate? Is reviewing his lessons. All right. And that's a simple sentence. Okay. I hope it's clear. The second um, type of sentence according to structure is we have the compound sentence. All right. So what composes the compound sentence? It must have, or it has two or more simple sentences that may be joined by a conjunction such as and, but, or nor. So again, it's composed of two or more sentences joined together by a conjunction such as and, but, or nor. So when it comes to punctuation marks, usually a comma comes before the conjunction. All right, later we will see in the example. Sometimes a semicolon may join the simple sentences. The simple sentences that make up a compound sentence are called independent or main clauses. Okay, so again, a simple sentence that make up a compound sentence are called independent or main clauses. When we say independent, it can stand alone. That means that it is already a simple sentence. Again, an independent clause is already a complete and simple sentence because it can stand alone. It has a complete thought, it has a complete subject, and complete predicate. All right, now to understand it better, let's try to answer or to understand the example. Terry came home from school and she started her homework. We have two independent clauses in here, or shall we say, we have two simple sentences in here joined by a comma in the word and. Could you spot the two independent clauses? All right, the first clause or independent clause is that Terry came home from school. It has a complete thought, it has a complete subject, Terry. It has a complete predicate, which is came home from school. And take note, we have the conjunction and we make use of comma before the conjunction and, which connects the first independent clause to the second independent clause. So we have the second independent clause, which is she started her homework. How did we say so? It is an independent clause. It's because it has a complete subject, she, and it has a complete predicate, started her homework. And obviously, there's a complete thought in here. So two simple sentences or two independent clauses joined together. This is called a compound sentence. Take note that the punctuation, comma, or semicolon, and the conjunction are very important in connecting the two simple sentences. Because if we do not use that properly, it will become a run-on sentence, which is another a violation in writing. Okay, and now let's proceed to the last part, which is a complex sentence. It contains one independent clause and at least one dependent or subordinate clause. Now we have a new term here. We have the dependent or subordinate clause. A dependent or subordinate clause cannot stand alone. Okay, cannot stand alone, meaning it doesn't have a complete thought, it doesn't have a complete predicate, it doesn't have a complete subject. That's why it's dependent, and it will only have a complete thought if you join this dependent clause to an independent clause. All right, now again, to understand it better, let's try to see and analyze The example: when the alarm went off, Danny automatically hit the snooze button. All right. So obviously it's composed of two clauses, one independent or one independent and one dependent or subordinate clause. Could you spot the dependent or the subordinate clause in here? Okay, very good. This is the dependent clause. When the alarm went off. Okay, when the alarm went off, what happened? It's not clear. It doesn't have a complete thought, right? So this is a dependent clause. And the next one, Danny automatically hit the snooze button. It can't stand alone. Why? As a subject, Danny, it has a complete predicate. Automatically hit the snooze button. And so if we join these together, we have one dependent clause and one independent clause. We call it a complex sentence. All right. We still have actually compound complex, but we will focus only on the three types of sentences according to structure and lit. Let's have a short recap. First, we have the simple sentence. Second, we have the compound sentence. And third, we have the complex sentence. Okay, is this clear? I hope so. So we could proceed to the exercises. Let's try to test our knowledge if really we understood the lesson or not. And so let's proceed to the exercises. Mhm. So this is called Lost Voyage. We will read an article in here, and then later we will analyze the sentences used in this article. We will determine the type of sentence. Okay. In 1872, a ship left New York for Genoa, Italy. 4 weeks later, the ship was found afloat in the Atlantic Ocean with all of its sails set. There was no sign of any tragedy, but the crew was gone. What was the name of this ill-fated ship? To answer the question, identify each sentence below as declarative, interrogative, an exclamatory. Write the sentence or the letter of each answer in the space above each sentence, number at the bottom of the page. So we will find out the name of this ill-fated ship. Let's start with number one. People have been sailing the seas for thousands of years. What do you think is the answer? Take note, it ends with a period. It gives a statement. So we call it as, all right, very good. The answer is declarative. So we write letter L to item number one. Okay, let's find number one. All right, write it L. Number two, what time does your ship leave port? It asks a question. It is. All right, very good. Interrogative sentence. Letter S to number two. Let's find out. There's number two in here. All right, and then we put letter S. Okay. And number three, one of the worst shipping disasters of all time was the sinking of the Titanic. Mhm. It gives a statement, right? So the answer is precisely it's declarative. So we put letter R to number three. Okay, and let's proceed to number four. Please open the window. You're asking somebody to do something for you, and you make use of the word please. How do we categorize this one? It's it's Absolutely, it's imperative. Okay, so we put letter C to number 4. Letter C to number 4. Next, number 5. Is the captain an experienced seaman? So you're asking a question. And if you ask a question, automatically it is an interrogative sentence. All right. So letter Y to item number 5. Okay. I think we cannot guess yet what's the name of this ship. So let's continue answering the other items. Number 6. Ask the crewman for directions. Ask the crewman for directions. You're asking somebody to do something, right? So we call it as, okay, correct. It is imperative. So we write letter A to number 6. Okay, yeah. Number 7, look out for the big wave. It's like there's a danger, right? Coming. There's a danger coming. Look out for that big wave, right? And when you say this, you state this with urgency, right? And you have to put emotion if you're gonna read this one, okay? And we call it therefore us. And take note, your clue, we have the exclamation point. And yes, we call it exclamatory. Yeah, exclamatory. So we write letter T to number 7. Okay, we still have how many? Two, four, yeah, 4 more letters. But I think we only need 2 letters in here, yeah, because we have the same letter for number 8, 3 the same letters for number 8. Okay, so what time is dinner? Obviously, this is very easy. This is interrogative. Okay, asking a question. So number 8, we write E, E, and E. Yeah, we completed the second word, celeste. Celeste. What's the first word? I wonder whether a storm is coming. You're actually making a statement, so we call it as, okay, very good, declarative. And so we write M here. So the name of this ill-fated ship is Mary Celeste. All right, we learned something new as we learned grammar. Okay, very good. So if you got this perfectly, could you share that in the comment section below? All right, that's just first part of it. Okay, we also studied, remember, we also studied the structure, types of sentences according to structure. And so we also have an activity for that. Yes, we love activities, right? Because this will, of course, enhance what we have learned. And this time we'll talk about mystery author. Who's this author? Are you fond of reading? How many authors do you know? And how many authors you consider as mysterious? Okay, we'll find out one author who is considered a mysterious author. So this writer is known for his haunting poetry and chilling stories. He is considered to be the father of the modern mystery. Who is he? To answer the question, identify the structure of each sentence below. Select your answers from choices after each sentence. Write the letter of each answer in the space above each sentence. Number at the bottom of the page. You will need to divide the letters into words. And so let's start. Number 1, James employs horror stories, but he likes mysteries more. How many clauses do we see? We have 2 clauses in here. James enjoys horror stories. Is this an independent or dependent clause? Let's analyze. Does it have a complete subject? Yes, it does. James. Does it have a complete predicate? Yes, it does. Enjoys horror stories. So this is an independent clause. Okay. The second one, he likes mysteries or mysteries more. Does it have a complete sentence of complete subject? Yes. He. Does it have a complete um, predicate? Yes. Likes mysteries more. And so this is another independent clause, and these are joined by a comma plus the coordinating conjunction but. So if it has two, it is composed of two independent clauses. We call it as, okay, nice. It's a compound sentence. So for number one, we write letter N. Where's number one? Okay, we write letter N. Now let's proceed to number two. People have been telling stories for thousands of years. Okay, is it simple or compound? First, how many clauses do we see? People have been telling stories for thousands of years. How many subjects? We only have one subject, one complete subject, and it's about the people. How many complete predicates do we have? We only have one. I've been telling stories for thousands of years. And so, how many clauses do we have? We only have one clause. And it is called an independent clause. And an independent clause is also called a simple sentence. Okay, so number two is letter D. So we write letter D in number two. Okay, now let's proceed to number three. Stephen King, master of the horror story, is one of Sarah's favorite authors. What do you think is the answer? The answer is simple sentence. Okay, it may sound and may look confusing because we have master of the horror stories, but actually it is not a clause. Okay, it we call it as a positive. It actually renames or gives more information to the subject, which is Stephen King. So basically, we only have one clause in this sentence, all right? And it is an independent clause, so we call it a simple sentence. So we write letter O to number three. Number three, letter O. All right. Number four, although scary movies give Marcia nightmares, she loves watching them. All right, take note, we have the comma here. How many clauses do you see? We actually have, yes, we have two clauses. We have all those scary movies give Marcia nightmares. That's one. Another clause is she loves watching them. All right. So which one is the dependent? Which one is dependent? Or probably do you see two independent clauses here? Let's analyze. The first one, all those scary movies give Marcia nightmares. The question here is, mm, does it have a complete thought? If we erase she loves watching them, do you think the clause all those scary movies give Marcia nightmares? Do you think does it have a complete thought? Actually, there's none, right? It doesn't have a complete thought. So we call it as subordinate clause, okay, or independent clause, okay. And the other one, she loves watching them. Does it have a complete thought? Yes. Does it have a complete subject? Yes, she. And does it have a complete predicate? Yes, loves watching them. So if you join one dependent clause, all right, to one independent clause, we call it as, all right, we call it as complex sentence. So we write letter R to number four. Okay, I think it's so hard um, to guess the name yet. Okay, so we further answer the next items. We now answer number five. on Saturday, Melissa went to the bookstore and she bought several novels. Melissa went to the bookstore. She bought several novels. So, what do you think is the answer? It is a compound sentence. Okay, very good. Both clauses are independent clause. So we write letter E to number 5. Letter E, letter E, and here, yeah, letter E. Now let's answer number 6. Whenever Vincent goes to the mall, he stops at the bookstore. Whenever Vincent goes to the mall. Is there a complete thought? None. So one dependent, one independent. We call it complex. All right. We write letter G to number 6. G. Okay. Sorry, it's G. 7. During the snowstorm, Taylor read The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. What do you think is the answer? It's it's a simple sentence. Okay, it is only composed of one independent clause. So letter P, we write letter P. Okay, Poe. Who is this author? All right, what's the complete name? Let's answer number 8. Lindsay could read a mystery for her book report, or she could read a romance. Okay, what's the answer? Is it compound or complex? The answer is a compound sentence. Okay, two independent clauses. So we write letter L in number 8. And we're down to the last item. I think we could answer it already. Steve gives fantasy novels because he likes reading about brave heroes, powerful villains, and magic. So kind of a lengthy statement, but is it a simple or complex sentence? Uh-huh. The answer is simple. It is